Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. And look at this beautiful day out here. It's a beautiful snowy day. What a great way to start the week. You know, last week we talked about criticism, complaining, and gossiping, and how by replacing those with a statement of gratitude, it would impact our lives and make the lives of other people better as well. Well, what I didn't realize by going through this experience, I don't know what you experienced or what you learned, but I learned that I complained more than I thought, that I criticized more than I thought. But by replacing those criticisms and complaints with a positive statement of gratitude, it moved me into a place of where I felt more empowered and stronger. You know, shortly after making this challenge, I thought of Buckminster Fuller's great question that he asked. What is it that needs to be done that I know something about that won't get done unless I take responsibility for it? Now, when I first heard that, I thought, whoa, that's overwhelming. I started thinking about changing the world. But I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning the next morning, and 4 words kept being repeated in my mind. And those 4 words were, lift where you stand. Now, I know I didn't originate those words, and when I got up in the morning, where did I hear those? And I went back and Googled and found them, and they came from a speech that was given by Dieter F. Uchtdorf, and somebody that's an ecclesiastical leader that I love to hear his speeches and read his speeches, and I'd kind of forgotten about that. But lift where you stand, what does that mean? It means, first of all, you need to stand for something, right? What is it that you stand for? What do I stand for? And then we lift from that space, not from where we want to be, not from where we were, but where we are right now. So that's started to change the Buckminster Fuller question, to challenge you. What is it that you know something about that won't get done unless you take responsibility for it, that the world needs now? Well, maybe the world needs for us to lift where we stand. Now, where did Uchtdorf get that? He got that from an experience that he had where he and several able-bodied men were trying to move a piano from a chapel to a concert hall. And as they went to lift it, nobody could lift it. It was like they didn't work together. Finally, one person said, hey, stand close together and then lift where you stand. And lo and behold, they lifted it up. They got the job done. Now, I relate that to, if I'm going to lift where I stand, that's talking about lifting others. That's not just myself, but lifting others. And as we lift where we stand, as we elevate others around us, we unconsciously lift ourselves. Not only do we unconsciously lift ourselves, but we unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. Now, we've just lived through, and I mean lived through, an interesting, if you want to call it that, national election. And I don't care what country you're from, it has an impact. The concept of what we're talking impacts. But in our country, in this great country of America, we experienced months, maybe years, of squabbling, of name-calling, of divisiveness, and in fact, outright hatred, really, from people of differing parties. Now, that's not lifting where you stand, is it? And so as we look at that, and we start thinking about the immense power that we could have if we stand together and lift together. Small things, starting where we are now, lift where you stand. Parents, by just reading with your children or your grandchildren, we in some ways are lifting the burden off our teachers that have such a burden on them today. By just obeying the law, maybe simple things as not texting while you're driving saves a life. Lift where you stand. By obliterating litter, let's no longer make it acceptable. We change the world by lifting where we stand, and it's up to us and how we can do that. The smile that you give somebody else, only you can do that. That's lift where you stand. Doing something for somebody else without any expectation, that is lifting where you stand. So how do we then imagine us all together as ordinary citizens? We begin to lift where we stand, and as a result of it, we abandon partisanship. We reserve debate for policy issues, as it should be, good, honest debate to do what's right. We throw out name-calling, and we can lift where we stand. 3 things I'm going to share with you that I was reflecting on our family, that we've had events that we could probably do better, but we've enjoyed them and they've made a difference. One is, for example, pick an event in your life. Maybe it's a birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be Christmas. But dedicate it to something special. Dedicate it to somebody that's lifting others around you. I remember when our youngest daughter was 10 years old, we did an event for her birthday where we found an orphanage in Africa. And the friends, rather than give her gifts to her, gathered gifts of sporting goods like soccer balls. They also had educational supplies, coloring books, etc. They all went to Africa to this orphanage via some University of Utah students that were traveling there. And they videotaped it. And imagine the parents and the families when they got together and saw the gifts that they had intended for our daughter when they were detoured to go to Africa, to be able to see those children enjoying those gifts so much. That's lifting where you stand. We do a thing in our family, you've heard us talk about it, legacy breakfast, where we do something anonymously by buying somebody's breakfast without ever seeing what happened in return, to see what happened when they got their free breakfast. These are people that are sitting in the restaurant that we look around the room and we say, look at that couple, they haven't said anything, let's buy theirs. Or look at that single mom, wonder where her husband is, maybe he's in Afghanistan, let's buy hers. And to watch the effect of that. The third thing that we've done, and this is our third year to do it, is that we've given a little tiny bit of money to each of our children. And we allow them the latitude to go out and make a difference, to live to where they stand with that money. Now, what's happened over the years is they found worthy causes, but some of them have now gotten to the point where they can leverage it, where they get matching donations. Or like one child last year actually went out and bought wholesale flowers and then made flower decorations and advertised them on Facebook, saying 100% of the purchase price of these beautiful flower decorations, table places, and wreaths, that they would go to help individuals that were living in rest homes that didn't have families or weren't going to have a Christmas, so that she could provide a Christmas for them. She took the little contribution that we made and she multiplied it many times and made a greater. That's lifting where you stand. So ask yourself, here's a question to ask yourself each morning. It's a question that I oftentimes write in my journal, and that is, how can I be the answer to someone's prayer today? I don't know if I ever have been the answer, but I know that that's a path to lifting where you can. Have a marvelous week this week. I look forward to talking to you next week. Make it meaningful. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.